I am Mark Greenstein, and I wanted to introduce people who are considering SAT subject test prep to how we work with students. I'm a U.S. history teacher, that's my subject, and so what Ivy Bound will do is give every student a binder. It looks like this. It's one that allows students to work remotely. Yes, as you're seeing me now, you could be hearing, working, interacting, because we do have a screen so students can show work. They want to work on important places, there we go. If they want to see, or I as a teacher want them to see things like, well, what was going on in 1958, ancient history for some 17-year-olds. What were the conferences in World War II? Yes, we've got that as well. Who were the presidents from literally Washington onwards? And maybe the most important part, which is what students will fill in. Fill in what you right now don't know. We identify what's important. You, in a few words, identify more so that you have a nice recognition when the SAT possibly asks about it. We also talk about trends and causes and effects. That especially helps if the student's going on to take the AP test, which half of it is written, 2/3 of it actually is a written test. And we encourage almost every student who is taking the subject test to also take the AP. The content is not much different. Format is, but if you're studying well for U.S. history, for example, we expect you can get a 4 or a 5 on the AP in the same subject. For that reason, we will add some work from AP practice sets too. And we at Ivy Bound can then be evaluators of students' practice essays. So they'll send us samples that they've worked on their own. I don't have to watch them doing it, but then an evaluator, that might be the tutor, that might be somebody else on our staff, ends up helping out. The final element for at-home work is we'll be assigning from potentially this book, we've got a few other books of practice test questions. They have answers. Often their explanations are really good. But what students will then do is save the explanations if they're not so good, save up the questions, and that becomes a roster of what we do the next time we meet. How often do we meet? Probably once a week, but if the test is kind of close, then maybe you do twice or even 3 times a week to lead up to your test. Unlike the SAT, which deserves a lot of time, 3 months, 4 months is your typical study time for the SAT and the ACT. We don't want to stretch it out that much. The subject tests are meant to be done over a short period of time. I'd say 6 weeks at most. And again, you could crunch it to 2 or 3 weeks and likely see success. The success that my students have seen, diligent students, I have never seen below a 690 on an 800 scale. I want students to come in expecting to be in the high 700s or even 800. I look forward to helping some of you get there. Please give me a ring.